Hey, what's up? I'm Legally Blind, and I just want to share a story about the day that I was told that I was losing my sight, and kind of talk about what it all means to me now that I'm older and wiser and all that good stuff. So it was the summer between my freshman and sophomore year of college, and my Mima, who had macular degeneration, had recommended that I go see this retina specialist. Because throughout my youth, I had always complained about not being able to see at night. I always complained about eye floaters. And so my Mima thought, this doctor has helped me with my macular degeneration. He's really good. Why don't you go see him? Now, at the time, I was driving. However, I anticipated having my eyes dilated. And my dad was also very interested to see what, the doctor had to say. So he drove me and we both went. So we get there, check in, about 30 minutes in this one waiting room, and they eventually call me back into the office to run some initial tests. The typical stuff. Stare at the little barn in the field. Focus on the little green dot with your eyeball. Don't blink. Taking pictures of your eye, all that good stuff. And then I'm told to go to a different waiting area in the building and talk to another receptionist. So we walk down the hallway and go to this other area and meet this other receptionist, and all I am thinking at this point is, this receptionist is kind of cute. I'm not seeing anyone right now. If my dad steps off to the bathroom, I'm gonna go talk to her. But my dad never went to the bathroom, and so eventually we end up getting called into the doctor's office. And that's when everything went south. The doctor basically said that he has to run one more test, but from what I've described of my visual experiences, as well as the information he's already got, he said it looks like I have degenerating vision. So then he sends me down another hall into another room, and I have to do another visual test. And at this point, I was just worried about the test, so it hadn't really sunk in what he had said. So after the test, we end up going and sitting back on that bench that I had mentioned before. And that's when I kind of got in my head about what he had said, and I started becoming very, very overcome with emotion. I could feel the tears coming on. I was trying my hardest to hold it back because, men don't cry. But also at the same time, I'm sitting there telling myself, cute receptionist is there. Don't cry in front of the cute receptionist. Do not cry in front of that receptionist. Don't, Josh, do not cry in front of the receptionist. And eventually the floodgates opened, and I just started bawling right there in the office. My dad was sort of beside himself at the time, like not really knowing what to say. He's trying to be as comforting of a father as he can be, trying to be like, let's wait till see what this test is. Let's wait for the test results. And then the doctor calls us back again. And he said, based off of the results that he got, I do have a degenerative eye disease. He then said he would refer me to a specialist in Charlotte to run tests to understand more about what the degenerative eye disease was and have final official confirmation of his findings. He asked me if I drove. I told him I did. And then he said, you probably want to stop. And then he said I should look into joining a support group. That was pretty much the extent of it. And then me and my dad left, and I was crying the entire time. Crying while walking out of the building, crying through the parking lot, crying in the truck. And I just remember my dad being kind of beside himself, because what do you say to someone who literally just found out that they're losing their sight? I just remember him saying, son, if I could give you my eyes, I would. And it was a long car ride home, and when we got home, I told my stepmom about it, and, I could tell that she felt a lot of empathy for me. She was very teary-eyed and was hugging me and, telling me how it's going to be okay, you're going to get through this. And then I said, you know what? I still got to get a final confirmation in Charlotte in a couple of weeks. For all we know, that doctor has no idea what he's talking about. Spoiler alert, he did know what he was talking about. I was just in serious denial. So me, in all of my denial, decided I was going to run. I ran 2 miles that day. Then I called up a friend to go get dinner, and I went to pick him up. And the whole time I'm driving to pick up my friend, I'm just thinking to myself, do you drive? You should stop. But I ended up getting to my friend's house safely, picked him up. We went and had dinner, then went and shot pool at the bowling alley. And then I drove back to his house, dropped him off, and drove back to my house. That drive was probably the most nerve-wracking and most paranoid I have ever been behind the wheel of a car. I wasn't worried about cops and speed checks. I wasn't worried about other motorists driving recklessly. All I was thinking was, should I even be behind the wheel of this car right now? And how much longer do I have until I can't be behind the wheel of this car? But I made it home. I checked Facebook and I went to bed. And that's pretty much my experience and what was going through my mind the day I was told that I was losing my sight. That was almost 15 years ago, and I can recall it like it was yesterday. It was definitely one of the most impactful moments of my life. But for my regular followers and friends on this app, if you want me to share more of these real, authentic stories related to my blindness, not that the funny, goofy stuff that I post isn't real or relatable, but I guess this type of video is a little more serious. But if you like the more serious videos, let me know, and I'll include this in my content as well. Because let me tell you, I've got some stories to tell.